Katsuki Bakugou wasn't exactly known for his tact of subtlety. His voice would echo across the dorms of UA, high like a thunderclap, often followed by the sound of something breaking, and it was his personality. Fierce, intense, and unapologetically blunt. But his rough edges, he always seemed to look out for you. The shy, gentle girl who barely raised her voice above a whisper. Your polar opposite personalities somehow seemed to work together. Though most of the class wouldn't have believed it, Katsuki's brass protectiveness and your timid warmth, unlike balance, and, well, one day everything went wrong. It started during a training session. Aizawa had paired everyone up for a sparring match, and luck or misfortune would have it, you ended up with Katsuki Bakugou. You'd been nervous, clutching your hands tightly as he crossed his arms and smirked at you. "What? Scared already, princess?" he teased. You tried to laugh it off, but the truth was you were scared. Not because you didn't trust him, but because you didn't want to mess up in front of him. Bakugou always felt like he expected perfection, and you felt very, very far from that. The match began, and you did your best, dodging his attacks and trying to strategize. But you hesitated for a moment too long, and Bakugou explosion nearly missed you. "Stinging your sleeve," he cursed, stopping immediately, but his frustration seemed to boil over. "Damn it, YN! If you're gonna be so useless, why the hell are you even here?" His words cut through your soft heart like a blade. Your words widened, and you took a shaky step back. The class fell silent, everyone watching as you lowered your gaze, biting your lip to keep from crying. "I'm sorry," you whispered, barely audible before turning and running off to the training field. From that moment on, you did everything in your power to avoid Bakugou. You skipped meals in the dorm common area, waited until he left the classroom before entering, and even started partnering with other classmates during training. The one small gesture of care he showed, carrying your things, saving you a seat, they were gone, replaced by the growing hatred between the two of you. Bakugou noticed immediately. "What's her problem?" he muttered one day, after he excused himself from the room the moment he walked in. "She's avoiding you, bro," Kirishima said, nudging him with a frown. "Like hell she is," Bakugou snapped, but deep down, he knew Kirishima was right, and the thought made his chest tighten uncomfortably. He didn't mean to yell at you. Okay, he did, but not like that. He was just mad at himself for nearly hurting you. And his frustration came out the wrong way. And now the idea that he'd scared you off entirely made him feel guilty. And Katsuki Bakugou did not do guilt. A week had passed, and your avoidance tactics grew elaborate. You volunteered for extra parole duties, just to spend more time away from the dorms. You threw yourself into studying in the library, and you made sure to never cross paths with Bakugou. But it wasn't just him. It was everyone you were avoiding. The memory of his words haunted you, making you question if you even really belonged in UA. You didn't have the raw power of someone like Bakugou, the confidence of someone like Momo. Maybe you were just a weak link. "Hey, YN, you okay?" Mina asked one evening, when she found you sitting alone in the dorm balcony, staring at the sunset. You forced a smile. "Yeah, I'm fine, just tired." Mina tilted her head, unconvinced. "You know, Bakugo's acting like weird. He keeps grumbling about how you're avoiding him. Ugh." Your stomach twisted. "I'm not avoiding him." You lied. Mina gave you a knowing look, but didn't push any further. "Well, whatever's going on, I think you two should just talk. He's a jerk, but, he's always a jerk, You nodded absently. The thought of facing Bakugou again made your heart race with anxiety. But the confrontation happened sooner than you expected. One late evening, as you snuck into the common room to grab a snack, you bumped into Bakugou, who was rummaging through the fridge. He straightened up, turning to see you, frozen like a deer in caught in headlights. Finally, he muttered, closing the fridge door with a thud. You gonna tell me what the hell's going on? I I don't know what you mean, you stammered, taking a step back. I'll cut the crap, he snapped, stepping closer. You've been avoiding me like I'm some kind of villain. What's your deal? Your throat tightened. I'm not. I just prefer if you stayed out of my way. His eyes widened slightly, his frustration giving way to confusion. What the hell are you talking about? You were right, you said, your voice barely a whisper. I'm useless, and I'm not strong like you. I keep messing up, and I don't want to be a burden. For a moment, Bakugou just stared at you, his expression unreadable. But then, to your surprise, he let out a low growl and ran a hand through his hair. Damn it, he muttered, more to himself than you. He took a big deep breath before speaking, his voice softer than before. Look, I didn't mean that. Alright, I was pissed off for almost hurting you, and I took it out on you, and that was shitty of me. Your eyes widened, stunned by his apology. But don't ever say you're useless again, he continued, his crimson eyes locking onto yours. You belong here, just as much as anyone else. You got it? You're stronger than you think, so stop hiding and prove it. His words hit you like a tidal wave, washing away the doubt that had been building up inside of you. Thank you, you whispered, tears prickling your eyes. He rolled his eyes, the corners of his mouth twitched upwards. Don't get sappy on me, princess. You couldn't help but smile. The tension between the two of you was finally breaking. For the first time in days, you felt a glimmer of hope that things could go back to the way they were, or maybe even better. From that night on, things began to improve. Bakugou was still his gruff explosion self, but he also was more attentive, making sure to encourage you in his own odd way. Good job, dumbass, he'd say after a successful training session, ruffling your hair. You find yourself growing more confident, determined to prove to him, but also to yourself, that you were capable. In time, the bond between the two of you began to grow stronger. It was built on trust and understanding, this shared desire to become the best heroes you could. The morning after your heart-to-heart with Bakugou, things felt different. The knot in your chest was gone, replaced by a strange mixture of relief and nervous anticipation. It was just odd. Training that day was tense, but not for the usual reasons. You felt Bakugou's fiery gaze on you the entire time. Even when he wasn't your partner, it was intimidating like before, though if anything, it was encouraging. When you managed to land a solid hit during your spar with Mina, he barked across the field. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about, he encouraged. Your cheeks burned as everyone turned to look at him, then at you. Mina grinned knowingly, nudging you when the match ended. He's definitely trying, she whispered. You nodded, a soft smile playing on your lips. For someone like Bakugou, even small changes like this spoke volumes. Later that evening, you returned to your dorm to find a small package sitting outside your door. Frowning, you pick it up and bring it inside. Inside, neatly wrapped, was a pair of protective gloves, the kind used for handling heat. Your name scrawled messily on the note that stuck on top. Use these next time you're training, and don't give me an excuse to yell at you again. You couldn't help but laugh softly, your chest warming at the gesture. Bakugou didn't do things like this often, nor, let's be real, at all, honestly. Thank you, he whispered, even though you knew he wasn't even there to hear it. The next few days passed as a blur, of studying sessions and patrols and grueling training. Bakugou seemed more patient with you, though his definition of patience still included plenty of yelling. Come on, Wyan, don't hesitate, move your damn feet, he shouted during one particularly intense training bill. You bit your lip, pushing yourself harder this time. You didn't freeze, and you dodged his mock explosion, and managed to encounter a precise strike, earning a rare smile of approval from him. Not bad, he said, crossing his arms as he watched you catch your breath. You smiled, feeling an urge of pride. Thanks, Kachan. His eyes widened slightly at your nickname. For a moment, he thought you might explode for real. But Instead, he turned away, muttering a, "Don't get cocky." You giggled, realizing that the underneath of his Gratz experience, why he was just as flustered as you were. One evening, you were leaving the library and you found Bakugou waiting outside. He was leaning across the wall, arms crossed, looking as impatient as ever. "Oh, hi," you said nervously, clutching your books. "Walk with me," he ordered, not even giving you a chance to refuse. You followed him in silence, your heart racing as he led you to the dorm balcony. The cool, evening air brushed against your skin. He stared out at the horizon, his hands stuffed in his pockets. "Look, I need to say something," he began, his voice low and hesitant. You blinked, taken aback. Bakugou Katsuki wasn't exactly known for being open with his feelings. "I was a dick," he admitted, glancing at you briefly before looking away. "That day during training, I shouldn't have said that to you. You didn't deserve it." Your chest tightened, but this time it wasn't from sadness. You were confused why he was apologizing once again when you'd already forgiven him. "Oh, it's okay, Bakugou. No, it's not," he interrupted, his crimson eyes blazing as he finally looked at you. "You're not useless. You're tougher than you think you are. You just don't see it." The sincerity in his voice left you speechless. He rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly, his cheeks tinted with the faintest hint of pink. "Anyways, don't make me repeat myself," he mumbled before turning away. You couldn't stop the smile spreading across your face. "Thank you, Kat-chan." He grumbled something under his breath, but didn't protest the nickname this time. Over the following weeks, your bond with Bakugou grew stronger. He still pushed you during training, but his circumstances were a little bit better this time. He was more constructive with his criticisms instead of just mean, and his praise, though rare, meant the world to you. "You're improving," one day after a particularly rough sparring session he said to you. "Still slow, but you're not totally useless anymore." "Wow, such high praise," you teased, confidence growing. He smirked, ruffling your hair roughly. "Yeah, don't get used to it." Despite his usual grumpiness, Bakugou started spending more time with you, even outside of training. He'd walk you back to your dorm after patrols, and begrudgingly, he'd help you study with a topic you struggled. He'd sit next to you during meals. "Dumbass," he muttered one evening, leaning over your notebook to correct a mistake. "How the hell are you so bad at this but so good at battle strategies?" You giggled, nudging him slightly. "Maybe I just like to keep you on your toes." One night after a long day, you find yourself sitting on the dorm balcony again, staring at the stars. You didn't expect to see anyone else awake, but soon the door slid open, revealing the Bakugou. "Can't sleep?" he asked, his voice unusually soft. You shook your head. Just thinking." He sat down beside you, surprisingly quiet. For a while, the two of you just sat there enjoying the peace. "You know, you got more guts than most people here," he said. "Don't let fear stop you. That's something not even I can do sometimes." Your heart swallowed his words. "Thank you, Kat-chan. That means a lot coming from you." He crunched in surprise. The small smile on his face told you everything you need to know. In that moment, you realized Bakugou's fiery exterior was someone who truly cared. And for the first time, you felt like you could face anything, as long as he was by your side.